Hello students, welcome to our today lesson. Grade 10 Mathematics, Unit 6, Lesson 3. Our today lesson is about special quadrilaterals. Special quadrilateral. We will learn this lesson, special quadrilaterals. So students, before we go directly to our lesson, what do you understand from the topic special quadrilaterals? The word special leave it tells you the importance of what we are learning. What do you understand from the word quadrilateral? This word is about two terms, quad and lateral. So when we say quad, it means what? Four. Lateral means what? Side. So we are learning special four-sided figures we are learning. So we are learning in this part what? Especially four-sided figure we will learn. These are figures that we see most of the time, that we have faced in different ways, in different grades. Even in the future you may face or you may come across in other chapters. Now, what are these special quadrilaterals that we are going to discuss? Can you give me just like what? One is trapezium, it is a quadrilateral. Parallelogram is another quadrilateral that we are going to learn. Rectangle is another quadrilateral. Again, rhombus is another quadrilateral. And a square. These are called special quadrilaterals. Now, we will start one by one. Now, let us start the trapezium. Students, think about trapezium. What type of figure it was? Can you draw? Okay, come on now. Trapezium definition. Trapezium is a quadrilateral where only two of the sides are what? Parallel. The quadrilateral ABC below is a trapezium. Look this figure. This is what? Trapezium. It is a four-sided figure. It is a four-sided figure. That is why we call quadrilateral. But only two sides are parallel. What are the two sides that are parallel? What about the non-parallel sides? From here we can see AB and DC are what? Parallel. While AD and BC are not parallel. The sides AD and BC are non-parallel sides of the trapezium ABCD. Clear? Note, if the sides AD, BC of trapezium ABCD are congruent, then trapezium is called isosceles trapezium. The trapezium in which the two non-parallel sides are congruent, that means equal in length, is called what? Isosceles trapezium. Students, this is what we call trapezium. Okay, let us see the next, parallelogram. What is parallelogram? Let us see the definition. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral in which both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Easy and clear. Halid parallelogram or barbarole. Parallelogram is a quadrilateral in which both pairs of opposite sides are what? Parallel. Parallelogram ku waa afar dhinac leh. Kaas labada dhinac iska soo horjeedaba ay yihiin maxay? Barbaro ay yihiin. Okay, I am sure that you can draw parallelogram. Whatever it looks like you can draw. You will take care only two things. What is that? The opposite sides must be parallel. They should not be non-parallel. Okay? The quadrilateral ABCD below is a parallelogram. Look, this is. Which two sides? AD and BC are opposite. They are parallel. They have the same mark. AB and DC are also parallel. So this type of figure is called parallelogram. This is a quadrilateral, call it parallelogram. AB is parallel to DC and AD is parallel to BC. Okay, let us see properties of parallelogram and tests for quadrilateral to be a parallelogram are stated in this theorem. In here we are going to see what? The properties of parallelogram waa astaamaha gaarka u ah parallelogramka iyo waxyaabihii lagu garanayay waxaan inuu yahay parallelogram iyo in kale shuruudihii lagu garanayay inuu parallelogram yahay iyo in kale. Okay, let us see theorem. Aragtiinkan waxa uu ka sheekeynayaa maxay? Waa astaamaha ama calaamadaha parallelogramka barbaroolaha iyo shuruudihii lagu garanayay in uu wax afar geesla kasta ama afar dhinac kasta uu noqon karo parallelogram iyo in kale inuu barbaroolo noqon karo iyo in kale wixii lagu kala saaray. So A, the opposite sides of parallelogram are congruent. This is one property. Hal astaan oo uu leeyahay parallelogramka ama barbarooluhu ayaa ah the opposite sides of a parallelogram are what? Congruent. Dhinacyada iska soo horjeedaan ee barbarooluhu way isku sargo'an yihiin. Maxay ka dhigan tahay taasi? Way isdherer leeyihiin. Hadduu kan 2 cm yahay ka kale ka soo horjeedaan waa 2 cm. Marka parallelogram laga sheekeynayo waa hal astaan. One property. The second property B, the opposite angles of parallelogram are congruent. Another property. What is this property? The opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. It's clear. Xaglaha iska soo horjeeda barbarooluhu way isku sargo'an yihiin. Labada xaglood iska soo horjeeda way isku sargo'an yihiin. C, the diagonals of parallelogram bisect each other. The diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. This is also another property that the parallelogram is half. The parallelogram is what? Half this properties again. What is the other property? The diagonals of parallelogram bisect each other. Maxay ka dhigan tahay? Xaglagooyaasha barbarooluhu way iskala badhaan, way isjaraan. Okay, let us see the tests for quadrilateral to be parallelogram. If the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are congruent, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. These are the tests, the criteria whether quadrilateral is a parallelogram or not. The criteria that we will use, one of it is what? If the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are congruent, then it is what? It is a parallelogram. One is that. E, if the diagonals of quadrilateral bisect each other, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram again. Another criteria, another test whether a quadrilateral is parallelogram or not parallelogram is if the diagonals of quadrilateral bisect each other, then the quadrilateral is parallelogram. Hal shuruud oo kale weeye tanna. Shuruudan maxay sheegaysaa inoo sheegaysaa haddii afar dhinacle ama afar geesle xaglagooyaashiisu ay isjaraan ama ay iskala badhaan maxaa la odhanayaa afar geeslahaasi waa maxay? Waa barbaroole ayaa la odhanayaa ka dhigan tahay. Now the last property, if the opposite angles of a quadrilateral are congruent, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. What this criteria says, what this test says for quadrilateral to be a parallelogram, it says if the opposite angles of a quadrilateral are congruent, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Haddii xaglaha iska soo jeeday afar geeslahaasi ay isku sargo'an yihiin ama ay iscabir leeyihiin isku baaxad ay yihiin maxaa la odhanayaa? Quadrilateralkaasi waa parallelogram, waa barbaroole. You can see from here, 3 are the properties, 3 are the tests. A, B, C waxay ka dhigan tahay astaamihii uu lahaa barbarooluhu parallelogram astaamihiisi weey DEF saddexdan dambe iyaguna maxay yihiin waa shuruudihii lagu oranayay ama lagu sheegayay inuu afar geesle uu noqon karo parallelogram iyo inuu noqon karin okay example let us see example in quadrilateral ABCD is a parallelogram find values of E F G and H find where this is the parallelogram. This is a parallelogram. Assume that this is a parallelogram. You are given. We are needed to find the values of E, F, G, H. We want to find this. Students, by looking at the figure, can you answer? I hope that you can, isn't it? Because we will use the properties. Opposite sides are like this. Opposite angles are like this, isn't it? So now let us see the solution. Solution: opposite sides of parallelogram are congruent. So if they are congruent, we can understand from here what? That E is equal to 12, F is equal to 8. Okay. Again, opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. Halidi, haglaha iska soo horjeeda ee barbarooluhu way isku sargo'an yihiin. So we can understand that G is equal to 55 degree. Hagashi 55 degree ka inoogu qoran waxa ka soo horjeeda waa maxay? Waa G. G waa 55 degree. And the last consecutive angles of parallelogram are supplementary. Do you remember what supplementary is? I hope that we have learned in chapter 5. What it was? They add up to 180 degree. So this is another property of a parallelogram. So now we can say H plus 55 degree is equal to 180 degree. So H is equal to 125 degree. So these are the values we were asked to find. qiimayaashiina la weydiinay inuu soo saarno waa kuwan. Maxaynu isticmaalnay? Waxaanu isticmaalnay astaamihii parallelogramka ayaanu isticmaalnay. Look, this is the advantage of mathematics. Okay, let us see rectangles. What are rectangles? I am sure you are familiar with rectangles. In our daily life, there are different things that have the shape of rectangle. So, let us start this part again. Definition. A rectangle is a parallelogram in which one of its angles is a right angle. A rectangle is what? Is a parallelogram in which one of its angles is a right angle. Rectangle has how many angles? It has 4 angles. So one of it is 90 degree. So what do you expect the opposite side of that? 90 degree. Again, what do you expect? The sum of the consecutive angles 180 degree. So all the angles are 90 degree. Now the parallelogram ABCD is a rectangle whose angle D is a right angle. This is. So indirectly, this the rectangle has 90 degree angle in all. ABCD is a rectangle. Some properties of a rectangle. A rectangle has all properties of parallelogram. Do you remember the properties of the parallelogram? This also has, because rectangle itself is a parallelogram. Each interior angle of a rectangle is a right angle. These are the properties of what? Rectangle. The diagonals of rectangle are congruent. Diagonals of rectangle are congruent. Okay, now let us start rhombus. Rhombus. Okay. Definition. A rhombus is a parallelogram which has 2 congruent adjacent sides. A rhombus is a parallelogram which has 2 congruent adjacent sides. Rhombus ku waa barbaroole leh labadii dhinac ee dariskiiba ay isku sargo'an yihiin. Let us see. This is side AD and DC are adjacent, they are congruent. AB and BC are adjacent, they are congruent. That means all the 4 sides are congruent. Afarta dhinacba way isleeyihiin. Okay, so this is rhombus. Now let us see the properties of a rhombus. These are very important. The most part is that we must remember anytime, whether we are in an exam or not, is this parts. Now, a rhombus has all the properties of parallelogram. A rhombus is an equilateral quadrilateral. That means rhombus ku waa maxay? Waa afar dhinac leh, afartiisu dhinac bay iswada leeyihiin. The diagonals of rhombus are perpendicular to each other. Xaglagoyaasha rhombusku way isku qotomaan. They make 90 degrees. The diagonals of a rhombus bisect its angles. Xagalgooyaha rhombusku ama qardaastu wuu kala badhaa xagasha. Hadduu ka soo dhaqaaqaya xagasha laba qaybood oo isleeg buu qaybay. Okay, these are the properties of what? Rhombus. Again, let us see a square. A square definition. A square is a rectangle which has congruent adjacent sides. A square is a rectangle which has congruent adjacent sides. Look, this is. It is a type of rectangle which its adjacent sides are congruent. The rectangle ABCD is a square. Some properties of a square. What do you think? Can you highlight the properties of a square? Wax ma ka oran kartaan talow? Wax ma ka oran kartaan? Astaamaha gaarka u noqon kara ama uu yeelan karo square-ku? A square has the properties of a rectangle. A square has all the properties of rhombus. Now, let us see activity. This is the last activity. So, students, prepare yourself and try to do within the given time. Now, let me read for you what are some similarities and differences between a parallelogram, a rectangle, and a square. What is their similarities? What is their difference? This is the first question. The second question, which one of the following is different from the others? Which one of the following is different from the others? Rectangle, rhombus, square, and Travisian. Which one is different from the others? You have 3 minutes. The more you try, the more you understand. So good luck. You have 3 minutes. Okay, welcome back. I hope that you tried, and most of you, I expect that you get the correct answers. Now let us see the solution. Solution: a rectangle and a square are parallelograms, and all are what? Quadrilaterals. Rectangle and the square are what? They are what? Parallelograms. Also they are what? Quadrilaterals. Each interior angle of a rectangle and a square is a right angle. A square is a rectangle. Let us see, a square is an equilateral polygon. Trapezium is different from the others. The second question, which one of the following is different? It wasn't it. The trapezium is different from the others. Do you get this? Can you tell me the reason? Discuss with your friends. And that's all for today. Our today lesson. Till we meet our next lesson, work hard, practice more. The more you practice, the more you understand. Bye-bye.